All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Pigeon Whole Motorcycle Podcast. I am on in Music City with Andy Atkins. How are you, Andy?
Dude, great. Doing awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here, man. It's like I was searching through Instagram and somehow, I don't know how your stuff popped up, but I'm like, I got to follow this dude. This is my entertainment for the day every day.
Nice, dude. Yeah, I'm just like trying to have a good time and remind people to be youthful and have a party. And, I've started like working the hashtags really heavily, trying to like push my shit into other people's feeds. So, just bombarding people with funny fat guy positivity.
Yeah, it's and I can say this because I'm one. Obviously, your name Atkins. So is it true that you invented the Atkins diet?
Yeah, dude. Eat. They say watch what you eat. I just watch everything I eat go into my mouth as fast as possible and
Yeah,
eat all the carbs, dude. I've
yeah,
tried the no carb thing a few times actually. Like, I'm
yeah,
huge. I'm like 300 pounds. I've lost weight, like a substantial amount of weight, 2 or 3 times in my life, like
yeah.
really trying to pay attention to dieting. But it's just so fun to eat burgers and pizza and stuff.
Preach, preach. Yeah, I'm down like 35 pounds now from not eating carbs, and I had a cheat weekend, and it was like I was like making love to a sandwich the other day.
Oh yeah, dude. There's
It's
nothing like
good.
it once you hadn't had it in a while, man.
Boy, does that transform over a lot of different
Yeah,
categories for
yeah,
that.
right. Absolutely.
All right, so let's go back. I did some research on your Instagram page, and I was scrolling back and scrolling back and scrolling back, and I see choppers, bobbers, choppers, bobbers, choppers, choppers, choppers. I get all the way back to 2011, I think. That sounds right,
Yeah, probably. I've been
dude?
jamming Instagram for a long time now.
I know it's great. So let's tell everybody about your motorcycle passion and how this relates to everything that you're doing.
Yeah, man. I mean, I got into bikes like pretty late in life. I didn't grow up with a dad or any sort of like male father role model kind of thing. So I played punk rock and heavy metal for years and did that whole thing and toured the world playing music. And towards the end of the band, me and one of the other guys in the band, both really good. He was already riding, and we were both like, man, we actually did uh, a tour of a Harley factory, and both of us were just like, dude, we got to get Harleys. And we weren't like some crazy successful band, but I made enough money where I could go buy a Sportster.
Nice.
So we both got Sportsters and did the first thing that you do. Cut the struts and paint it all flat black and call it a bobber and all your standard, I call it the Sportster treatment, like just your standard Sportster cool guy stuff. And thought we were the coolest dudes in the world and was watching Sons of Anarchy, that
Oh
whole
yeah.
deal. And just didn't know anything, but like it just stuck with me, man. Like it was like the most enjoyable thing. And that I got into that right around the same time that the band was ending and calling it quits. So, finding a way to um, go from one passion and identity into a new passion and a new identity.
Sure.
So I just hit the ground running on bikes. And, like I said, I didn't grow up with a dad. So I was an adult before I ever like really had any hand tools or learned much about mechanics or anything like that. So over the last decade, I've been riding and also like teaching myself everything I need to know about working and fabricating on my own stuff. So, some of the fabrication stuff I have other people step in and help me with, but or work on my bikes. I work on other people's bikes now and headstrong into being, motorcycle chopper bobber dude.
Yeah, and you know what? The message that I get out of your Instagram page and your whole philosophy on life that I see coming out of there is this freedom and individuality and doing your own thing, which I think transforms over to the motorcycles fantastically.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like it's all, like motorcycles and more specifically choppers, like everything can be very, I consider it kind of high schooly. Like it can be very cliquish, like if you're not riding a vintage, pre 84 bike, then you're not really cool, or if you're not riding a shovel or a pan or whatever, there's all these different like subsects that people like to like lump themselves up into. But I'm just a dude that likes to have a good time. I like motorcycles. I'll ride next to a crotch rocket or a Triumph or a CB 350 or whatever, I just happen to be into the chopper game. And yes, of course, I'd love to build myself a panhead or a knucklehead one day or something. But also, I have all these other like responsibilities in my life.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
chose Sportsters are like a really great, easy, and accessible platform to start riding bikes and to customize. And so the Evo Sportster doesn't get a whole lot of crazy respect in the motorcycle world, whether it's a cool guy, chopper guy, or, a guy riding a Road King. But I will say that I think it's about the best platform there is. I'm 300 pounds and I've ridden my bike all over the country, everywhere. So you can't say a Sportster's not a big enough bike to get the job done. Because I've ridden to the Black Hills and back. Like that thing goes everywhere and it do anything I want it to do.
That's
Um,
awesome.
so yeah, it's just all about finding your thing, the thing that makes you happy, and pour yourself into it. And if there's a few people that don't really latch on to what you're doing or don't support it or mock you or make fun, who cares, man?
Right. And it's funny because I had this. My background is not in motorcycles, so jumping into this whole thing and getting to talk to people all over the place, it was my preconceived notion that it seemed like everything was very clicky. And fortunately, and I'm sure that's out there. I guess I've been blessed enough to meet just a lot of great dudes, from chopper dudes to cafe guys, that those are people just doing their own thing, and they're patting people on the back just for doing their own thing and trying different stuff, which is cool.
Yeah, I think that's the general consensus. But then, with any fad, I feel like there is a pretty heavy fad on motorcycles right now, and especially choppers, and with Instagram making everything pretty like accessible and um, makes it glorifies everything. You just see the coolest shots of bikes and like, oh,
Yeah,
dude, I'm a chopper dude now. And I'm not saying that I did. I pretty much did get into choppers through Instagram. Like I said, I didn't grow up in that influence, but I do think it's something that's going to be with me the rest of my life. It doesn't really feel like a one and done kind of get out thing.
sure.
But there is that. There's probably people that are riding some pretty sick cone shovels right now that within the next 5 years, when that's not cool and the next thing is cool, there'll be a bunch of cone shovel choppers online for half the price of what they are right now. And that's when all of us lifers will be able to continue going, and buy some bikes.
Right. All right. So let's shift over to. So I'm watching your Instagram. So you had a lot of bike posts, a lot of fun posts. So when do you decide in here that you're going to start doing some videos, and the name of your channel too? I think that you should probably say on here too, because it's Instagram and YouTube as well. But when do you decide to make that leap? Just more, because it's entertainment to me. It's entertainment and about you and about your passions. So when does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, like a little bit of backstory on how it all came about is like, um, for years I've been like I was in a band for about 10 years and toured all over the world and did that thing, and then that ended and I kind of had just had to jump into adult life. Like I didn't plan ahead. Like when I was playing in like a metal band, so when you're playing in a metal band, not everybody's going to be Metallica or whatever. So there's a glass ceiling, and one day it's going to be over. And I didn't really plan ahead for any of that. So about a decade ago, the band was over, and I just had to start working jobs. Like whatever it is, like get a job, work hard, show you got a crazy work ethic, build yourself up. Decide you don't like that path and go start over and do something else. And I've done that a few times in my life. And as long as you're willing to work hard, you can start over and over and over. And I've done it a few times. And so, anyway, with all of that, I've only paid attention to my work ethic and my bank account and my career path. And so, like, the older you get, the more cynical you become, and you kind of just pay attention to that. And you're not really paying attention to all the things that bring you joy in life and all the reasons that you're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so, with all that being said, I was in a pretty successful career path working in the music industry and production and staging. Working for a company where we designed and built and sold production gear, staging gear for like Taylor Swift and Zach Brown Band and Panic at the Disco and all these huge artists, right? And it
Nice.
seemed like it was going to be the most lucrative career path that I could have followed. But then COVID hit, and it's that industry's never seen anything like this before, and it's just shut everything down in the live entertainment world. And I'm kind of viewing this whole thing as a blessing in disguise for myself, because I was doing this thing that I was being very successful at, but also didn't enjoy it and didn't really want to see myself do that the rest of my life. And so, you know, I have a little bit of time right now when the world is kind of on pause and everybody's trying to figure out their stuff. That I took a voluntary layoff from that company and let another guy keep my position that needed the insurance and needed the money for his family. I was kind of, I don't want to say I'm set, but like I got a little bit of cushion and I can take some time to figure some things out.
Cool.
And I've always had this desire to do the podcasting and the videos and those kind of things, because I used to do that stuff when I was younger. Like even before my band, I had like a YouTube channel and did some things back then in the early days of YouTube, and I just missed it. So now that I have the time to think a little bit and breathe and figure out what I want to do and bring myself a little joy, I'm starting to soak more of myself into those things. So uh, uptick in the Instagram comments and content and doing the videos. And I don't really have any niche, like there's some motorcycle videos, there's some videos about cooking, there's some videos about building decks, there's whatever, but that's just who I am. I'm all over the place. I'm just a dude that enjoys a lot of stuff. And my hope is that people latch on to the personality behind me. Not that I think I'm something so special that everybody's looking for me. You know what I mean? But
Right.
if the goal is, if you don't care anything about decks, like I'm kind of building some decks for some people right now. If you
Right.
don't
I
care
watched the videos. Yeah.
yeah, thanks. If you don't care anything about a deck, but you thought the content surrounding that video was uh funny enough or just entertaining enough that you'd watch that. And the same thing with the motorcycle stuff. Like my hope is that it's not just people looking for motorcycle videos that watch my videos, but people that are just looking for a couple laughs. Hopefully my editing and the stuff that's coming out of my mouth is enjoyable enough that just the average person wants to kick back for 7 to 10 minutes and watch me talk about something.
All right. And you know what I got out of it too? I agree, and I think what you're going for is coming across great, because I watched a video about decks. I don't know shit about decks. I don't know anything about, but I watched it. I giggled. But you come across these videos, folks, are extremely genuine, and that's what I think like helps it, because I'm like, hey, I can relate with this dude. He's just having fun. You're doing your thing, so it's very genuine.
I've always, everything I've done in art and music and any sort of content creation, whatever you want to call it, is that it's me just being honest and genuine and trying to I'm not much of like I hate cool guy or like try to be something you're not, and I really hate dishonesty. So like just everything about me is exactly what you see is what you get. I
Hmm.
don't think I said the name of the channel, but like it's called Party On Forever. Sorry, Party On Forever.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, right. And the whole mindset of anything I'm doing, and like I touched on a minute ago, is the older I get, I feel like I'm becoming more cynical, because you're just like head down, working, make money, pay attention to the news and economy, and realize that we're all fucked, right? And so you just keep getting more and more dark the older you get. And the thing that I'm realizing is that's not the point. That's not the purpose. We should be growing like happier and with more joy in our life as the older and the wiser we get. And so this whole video thing, my whole personality on the internet right now is just that, to like remind people that this whole thing is a party. Of course, you got to work and you got to pay your bills and you got to figure out how to provide for your family. But it is about the time with your family, not about the way you make the money to spend on your family, you know?
Right. I agree 1,000%. You know, it's almost people get desensitized from actually truly living. You know, at the older you get, where it should be the opposite, where you time you have to put your nose down and work, but enjoying those free moments and enjoying a good laugh over a stupid video or making a video or anything like that, just
Yeah,
to open up your horizons more.
for sure. I'm like super guilty of when I was working full time. It like I'm very dedicated to the job and making sure the job gets done, whatever the job is. I've had a bunch of different things in my life, but like I'm the kind of dude that you get off work at 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, you go straight home, you take your shower, you eat food, and then maybe you kick back for like an hour or two and watch TV, but you're in bed by like 9 o'clock. So that way that you can give yourself fully to that job the next day. There's no going out, there's no doing stuff during the week. Like, and I got so fixated on the job comes first, the job comes first, the job comes first, that like my whole life outside of that was, suffering, like my
Yeah.
relationships and my friendships are suffering because anytime I do anything, I'm just thinking, man, I need to make sure I'm at home and in bed for work tomorrow, you know?
Hmm.
And I mean, I'm not telling everybody to go out and quit their jobs. Like I'm right now trying to figure out how to hustle and make money to continue this free hippie lifestyle I'm working on, but the idea is that these videos that I'm putting out, and it's kind of working. Like I put out a video about how I built a deck at my house. There are like 3 people right now that said, hey, will you come build a deck at my house? And I'm quoting a deck right now for other people. And like the same thing with the motorcycle stuff. Like I post shit about a motorcycle on what I've done to this and that. And then people are like, hey, man, I got this, and this I want to do on my bike and I'm too scared to do it. Will you do it? And like the whole idea is like this content is supposed to be just entertainment and enjoyable, but also if it will drive all these tiny little hustles that I have to
Hmm.
allow me to keep making money and not have to go out and work for the man for some other guy.
Right.
That's the goal in this whole thing.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny when you put your passion and your passion comes through on your videos that it attracts people. Whether you know what the hell you're talking about or not, other people have a trust to you because you come across so honest and
Yeah, dude.
just giving
I've
the message apart.
I've been trying to like do some like how-to videos, like some hey, this is how you do this, or do like random maintenance motorcycle work. But half the time I'm doing those videos, I'm like also going over to YouTube and figuring out how to do something. And so, or I'm talking about something and I don't really know what I'm talking about. I know 1 + 1 = 2 and this thing works.
Right.
But I don't really know the reason. I can't really 100% explain to you a carburetor and all the things that happens in it, but I know how to make it work. You know what I mean? So I've shot a
That's
video on how to like rebuild a carb, but then halfway through it, I'm like, I can't post this because it's obvious I have no clue what the hell I'm talking.
which might make it more fun.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome. The I want to. I'm going through your stuff, right? And we were talking about hashtags. So tell everybody about your hashtag is what? Chorin?
Shoring, dude. Yeah. That Shoring thing just came about. That's kind of how all this stuff just came about so organically.
Yeah.
Um, Rachel, we're legally married, so I can call her my wife. But Rachel and we've been together for 10 years, and
Hmm.
this year we got like courthouse married just so I could like get on her insurance and stuff. But this year was the year that we were getting married, having a wedding. Right? We live in Nashville. All of Rachel's family lives in Minnesota, so we were supposed to get married in April, and we just bought a house together last year. It's the first time we've ever bought a house. And we had all these things that we wanted everything to be perfect before they show up, like everything's got to be in its place and done right and stuff. So at the beginning of this year, I knew that we had a wedding in April. So I just started doing all our chores. Like I just was like choring, never hanging out with anybody on the weekends, never getting to see my friends because there's always something to do. So, of course, with this day and age with social media and stuff, like I'm just posting it because like I want the solidarity. I want people to be with me in spirit as I'm at home working by myself, not getting to hang out. So I'm
Right.
hashtagging choring, and then people start doing it too. Other people are at home doing their chores, and anything from folding laundry to building a garage to whatever it is, people are hashtagging it and posting me and like reposting to me, and it's cool. It went from this thing where it's kind of a joke, and also me just kind of searching for this solidarity to like people, like maybe it's encouraging people to like get their shit together and work on their stuff, and then they're posting it, and then not only are people seeing their job well done, but then their posts are encouraging their friends to also do their stuff. And it's just this cool organic thing where it's like, yes, I'm all about the party and all about the good time, and everything's like, if in a perfect world we could just be all out in a desert just partying 24 hours a day for the rest of our lives, right? But
Right.
that's not it. So like, if you're going to be choring, do it to the best of your ability, show it off, encourage everybody, and let's do it together. If you're in New Mexico and I'm in California or whatever, we can share our videos and encourage each other. And it's been fun. So people, if you're listening to this and you're doing some chores at home, shag or hashtag chore, and now pop it out there to the world, and everybody will see all the cool stuff you're doing.
I can't wait. I'm going to go search the hashtag when I'm done because I do some stupid shit over here that I guess would be, as a single dad. There's a lot of choring going on around here. I think
Yeah, dude.
I'm joining the choring community. I think that's what I'm going to
Yeah, dude, you got to, man.
do, just for some fun anyway.
Choring during the day, partying at night, It's like a
That's
mullet.
You're right. Life is like a mullet.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely.
I think we have a name for the show now. Life is like a mullet.
Life is like a mullet. I love it.
From Andy Atkins.
Yeah.
Party on forever. Actually, it kind of all works together. I like that.
I love it. I wish I could grow a mullet, dude. I got
Yeah, you're kind of far from the mullet. He's got you're receding a little bit. I mean, when I
Oh,
say
dude.
receding, I mean you're bald.
I had like long hair when I was in high school, and I like trimmed. I cut it down like short, like when I was a senior in high school, and I could see how bald I was going at 18 years old. And by the time I was 21, I was shaving my head. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it happens. What instrument did you play in your band you're in?
Uh, I was just screaming really loud. I wouldn't like
Oh,
to call it singing. It's just screaming. I mean, I can play like all the, drums, bass, guitar a little bit. I'm not amazing at any of them, but somehow I landed like a spot being on a microphone, screaming real loud and just playing punk rock, hardcore, and metal. And did that thing forever. It was great. It's kind of refreshing and cool to talk to somebody that doesn't know that side of me. Cause that's the thing. Not that I'm like world famous or anything by any means, because I'm not, but that's whatever popularity I do have in my life is from that. So any kind of interviews or podcasts or anything is usually some nostalgia about that, which was an amazing part of my life, and I owe everything I have in my life to that,
sure.
decade of my life. But yeah, just like loud, heavy metal. The band was called A Plea for Purging, and it was just loud, aggressive nonsense. But I've been to like 19 countries and every single city and state in America that you could ever care about going to, even all the little places you don't want to go to. I've been there.
Wow.
Oh, Kansas. I've been there like 1,000 times.
And being from the music city, the country music, whatever, the screaming. There's no big screaming gigs in Nashville right now, right?
It's weird, man. Like, you wouldn't think so, but there is a pretty small, like, supportive subculture here in Nashville that there are some pretty decent bands that have come out of here. We're talking on a pretty small scale, not like radio friendly, big MTV, CMT stuff, but there is like this whole underground world where you can make money and and have a living playing like loud, aggressive music. It's just all about managing your expectations out of life. You know, maybe you're not like driving Ferraris or even brand new F-150s or anything, but like if you can live in a one bedroom apartment and keep your overhead really low and drive a used car, you know, and if you want to get into motorcycles, buy a $3,000 Sportster as opposed to, you know, $30,000 Road King or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, you can live that life. I did that all through my 20s, and when I got like 30 or 31 years old, it was like I had this relationship that I'd been in for a long time. All the other guys were in relationships and getting married and stuff, and you just start realizing that you're not bringing in enough money to like make it viable anymore. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I would way rather play heavy music and play and like live in a van with my friends and drive down the road every day and play music, than like work a 40-hour a week job doing something.
Right.
But the reality is, I want the home life that I have with Rachel more than I want that, you
Sure.
know? So you give that stuff up to move on to other things.
Yeah. No, I bet. Okay, tell me give me a good, fun, one of your best motorcycle ride. It sounds like you've ridden everywhere. So, tell me, how about your favorite place you've ridden on a motorcycle?
Gosh, dude, that's hard, but like going through the Badlands is some of the most amazing crap I've ever seen. You know, the dichotomy of the Badlands and the Black Hills, and they're both so close to each other, is phenomenal and crazy. I've never actually been to like Sturgis the rally, but I've been up there and ridden around and in the off season, and like going through the Badlands where everything feels like you're on Mars, feels like you're on another planet. It's otherworldly. It's insane.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if you take all the back roads, and we went through like some crazy gravel roads to get from the Badlands to the bottom of the Black Hills, and it was just all these dirt roads with no gas stations, and I was on a chopper, and you didn't see any people or gas stations or anything, even houses. Like I was like almost ran out of gas. I had to use like I had an extra gas can and used that, and still almost ran out of gas. And then in the middle of nowhere, found this gas pump. There wasn't even a building. There wasn't anywhere. It's just a gas pump with a card reader, and it was crazy. I'd never seen anything like it. And you could buy gas. Um,
Wow.
but did that. So like that's such a beautiful area. I get the whole reason why Sturgis is Sturgis and why everybody travels there to do that. Um, that's some of the most beautiful stuff I've ever done. That trip's got just a million stories. That thing about the riding through the gravel roads was crazy. Then we're jamming the freeway at like 80 miles an hour. Rachel rides her own bike too. When I first started riding, Rachel rode on the back of my bike, and then I got into the whole chopper thing, and she was like, "I'm not gonna sit on a coochie cutter king queen seat," and she hated it. So she got her own Sportster. That's it behind my shoulder there. Um, and she learned to ride, and she's amazing. She outrides any of the dudes I ride with. I'm not kidding. She can jam as fast, as hard, as confident as anybody I ride with. And so, well, we're hitting the interstate at like 80 miles an hour, and she smashes like a black crow to her face,
Oh
and it
my
explodes
god.
all over. She's got like a full face helmet, and it explodes all over her helmet.
Oh.
And we had to pull over on the side of the road so she could like connect her, feelings and collect herself. But that was wild. We've had a ton of fun, man. Like, and I've only been riding for like less than a decade now, about like 9 years. Um, but it's incredible, man. Like we love it so much that we've made it a very big priority in our life. We were living in Minnesota for a few years, and 6 months out of those years, you're not able to ride. So the 6 months that you can, you're just on it every weekend, going and camping every weekend. We're actually going to Minnesota this weekend to see family, since the never finished earlier, but the wedding canceled because of COVID. It never happened. And so we're going to go up there and visit them and just see them and hang out. And while we're up there, we're going to rent a couple bikes and go up to Lake Superior. There's like a beach on Lake Superior that we found that you can camp on. I don't know if you're
Nice.
supposed to, but we do. We used to ride
Yeah.
our choppers up there and sleep on the beach all the time. So we're going to rent a couple bikes and go up there and sleep on the beach for a night. It's going to be great.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. Yeah, because I'm in the DJing weddings for 26 years. Like everything that we've had got canceled, and I feel horrible as the worker and having my complete income completely destroyed.
Right. Yeah.
But I feel for like you guys. It just sucks. You put everything on hold.
Yeah, man. We were supposed to get married in April. Everything hit, like shut down the city and the country, and so then we decided to move it till August, and everything was going to be in August, which this next weekend it was supposed to be our second date, and then everything was moving forward to look like that was going to be fine. And then I don't know if you watch much about the news or on the news about Tennessee, but Tennessee's cases are trending really high, really crazy right now because we got a bunch of idiots that just don't care. And this, we could argue and talk about that whole thing and like the freedom of not wearing a mask and this and that, and blah, 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 blah. But my thing is, dude, pay attention to science. And even if you don't care about any of this shit, it's about respect. If you go out in the public and there are people that care and are scared and worried, just wear the fucking mask. And hopefully we're going to fix the numbers. Sorry for
No,
yelling
you're
about
good.
fucking, but just wear the mask. Hopefully we get through this shit so then people can get married and live their lives and go back to work. Like I have hundreds, maybe even thousands of like acquaintances right now that don't have work because of this. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like my entire industry, people that have built their whole lives work around live entertainment are not in live entertainment. So like, man, just do whatever we got to do to play ball to give people their jobs back and to
I
get
agree.
the virus out of the way. So that's my rant about that. But yeah, so we never had our second wedding. So we just had to cancel the wedding altogether. And hopefully next year sometime we'll be able to do it, but we're not even making any plans. And the thing that sucks, like you're in the wedding industry, like it's a bummer. Like we had to call all our wedding vendors and say, hey, like we'd really like to get our deposits back if we can. Like we hate that, and if you can't do it, because there's a lot of like individuals, like um our photographers, just this girl, she's not some like corporate America. She's just some girl, and she's probably already spent the money that we gave her for the deposit. And so like you're like trying to balance like getting your money back from the companies that can afford to give you your money back, but also not pulling the money out of the mouths of people that need to eat, and like have this balance act of like maybe we're going to get married next year and be able to use your company, but
Right.
maybe we never have this wedding and you just have our money forever for not doing anything for us.
Right.
And it's this scale that sucks to have to like juggle.
Right. And you know what really sucks on the other end of that? Which, so about every 2 days I get a call of somebody, postponing or canceling, and same kind of
Right.
questions. But everybody for 2020 is postponing to 2021 or pushing it off to 21. So all the prime dates now from the money that we didn't make in 20 are moving to 21, which we still get the money for. But all the new people from 21 can't book because the
Right.
20s are there. So my whole life, and just think about this, like this whole COVID thing on such a small level as a wedding DJ, across our entire country, how that just domino effects and just fucking ruins small businesses. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's taken out a lot of good people, and there's all these different conspiracy theories on what it is and if it's anything and who blah 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 blah. I'm not one to ride that line. I'm just like, hey, let's whatever. And I'm not saying I'm a sheep because I'm not a sheep, but like whatever they're telling us that we need to do to like fix the problem, I think we just got to fix it. I mean, like wear the mask and try to follow all the rules and lather yourself in hand sanitizer if you got to. Like
Yes.
people need to work.
Right.
And there's just and I'm worried about it. Like I said, I didn't grow up like really caring much about economics and And I was a punk. I was riding around with my best friends in a van until I was 30 years old. So I didn't get into this stuff.
Right.
But like now I do care because I'm 38 and I hit the ground. I pretty much started like caring about adult shit 8 years ago. So like I'm really late to the game and I'm really trying to play catch up. And so I do care about all the economics and the future of what's going on in the world financially, because after all this is over, I think we're going to hit a pretty crazy like recession, or depression, or whichever word fits. Like it's going to get dark. And, I don't think we've even touched how negative it might be. So
I
maybe
agree.
this whole party on forever thing is needed more than ever right now.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I love it too. I love that you say you didn't become an adult till like 8 years ago, but the content is the party on forever. But uh, obviously, when you dig into it and see what you're doing, it makes a lot of sense. But being able to enjoy adult life like everybody should as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much that can get you down, and like, all the crazy stuff we're just talking about. Like I'm the kind of person that is in my head all the time, always thinking. Rachel has to go, "What are you thinking about?" Because like in there and I'm stuck inside and I can't get out of the vortex of worry. So it's like, and right now this is the craziest time in the world to in my lifetime, this is the craziest shit that's ever happened. And so like there's plenty good reason for worry, but I'm just trying to like take all that pent up energy and focus it on something else, which is the positives in my life. I
Sure.
got it, whether all this stuff ends and the house that we bought last year ends up being foreclosed on, and Rachel and I have to ride across the country on our motorcycles and sleep in tents. That sounds okay, dude. Like as long as we got each other and we
Sure.
can like sleep in some hammocks or something, we're gonna be okay. And we can
Right.
both go get jobs at McDonald's if we have to.
Right. Not everybody thinks like that, my friend. So, but it is a good message to deliver. And I was reading one of your other things. I like your things about individuality and staying true to yourself, which I think comes over to the kind of motorcycle when it comes to like fads or being in groups or things like that. I think the message that you're portraying about staying true to yourself is excellent.
Thanks, man. I mean, like I grew up fat and poor. So like when you're in junior high and high school, two things you shouldn't be is fat and poor. You're not gonna like be the most popular kid in school that way. And so I guess I could change either one of those things. I could work really hard and become really rich, and I could work really hard and become really skinny. Um, and probably both of those things actually need to happen. But um, but you use what you got and you work with what you got, man. And like, I didn't get in a metal band because somebody thought I was a super sexy front guy. I just had a talent or whatever and had a good personality. And somehow, like, even in the metal world, it still sex sells. Like
Sure.
the cool, like put together package is better than a sloppy one. So we had things to overcome as me being a fat dude and that kind of thing. But I've just lived my whole life as like use what you got and be genuine and like what you like and don't try to be anything else.
Sure.
And if people respect you and see the genuality, that you're being genuine, then they're gonna jump on or they're not, and it doesn't really matter. Like at the end of the day, the only two people that I have to care about think about me is me and Rachel. You
Sure.
know, I just happen to have a pretty good friend group of people that think I'm hilarious. You know?
We were just having one of my best friends, Juan. We always have this conversation how fat guys are usually more funny than skinny guys, and they're allowed to be more funny and get away with stuff more than skinny guys. And I went, me
Dude,
being a plus size man myself, I totally agree with that.
I think that's right. Like I have a healthy bit of like narcissism. Like I can kind of come off like if you only heard my voice and you never saw me, you never knew what I look like, some of the stuff I say could like be, they could be like, that dude's full of himself and whatever. But there's some weird thing about like being fat, and like they're like, oh, he's cute. What he's trying to do, what he's trying to say there, that's funny, like as opposed to thinking I'm just a narcissistic asshole.
Right. I think that it's a balancing act.
Yeah,
That's for sure. But to use it in there, it's funny.
for sure. But I mean, the first step, I think the first step to like having a positive life is learning how to love yourself. Like I've had plenty of time of hating myself, and I like a lot of my humor is self-deprecating for sure, but I'm just very self-aware. Like I think it's important to be self-aware and realize your weaknesses and your flaws and things, but to love yourself, as cheesy as that sounds, that shit matters. If you go through your life hating yourself and not paying attention to what um, gives you joy and
Sure.
makes you feel important, then you're gonna have a negative life, and people are gonna feel that around you.
All right. Something that either you said or I was just reading, which is funny, that especially in the motorcycle world, it's pictures of bikes, pictures of tools, pictures of bikes, and rarely do you see these guys in shots, unless it's the money shot, with the bike. But a
Yeah.
lot of people feel uncomfortable looking at themselves on photos, and I think that has a lot to do with self-esteem. Where no matter what you look like, you're fat, skinny, quote unquote ugly, good looking, to feel comfortable looking at a picture of yourself, I think says a lot about what's going on inside of you.
Yeah, I mean, especially with these videos, I have to sit here and like, it might be like a 3 minute or a 10 minute long video, but I'm sitting here at the computer looking at myself and watching and listening to myself talk for hours sometimes for a 7 minute video. Like that deck video, that was like 7 minutes. I spent like hours. The chopper video right before that, where I talk about my Sportster,
Right?
I spent 3 days recording and editing that video, and it's not even really that cool. But that's how much time goes into that stuff sometimes. And like, if you don't love yourself, you're really gonna hate yourself after watching yourself all day long for 2 or 3 days.
Right. Or you won't be videotaping yourself anymore. You'll be
Right,
going off to
man.
something else.
I
You're
mean,
in the wrong line of work.
I'm just here in this garage, like by myself most of the time, trying to make myself laugh. That's like what most of the videos are. I think that deck one that I did, I'm gonna try to move towards having someone help me. Like I had a buddy here videoing a lot of that stuff for me,
Hmm.
and that stuff's easier because like just right here, just me and you talking, I can like allow myself to like, I'm basically gonna try to make you laugh if we're just in a conversation and trying to be funny. But
Right.
trying to do that alone by yourself in a room is a lot harder than having like an audience, basically.
Yes.
So I'm hoping to move that route where I can have somebody follow me around with a camera a little bit more. But also, this isn't a paying job. This is just like being goofy and having fun. So it's hard to make people care about it as much as you do.
Yeah, it's funny too. And for Andy's volunteer, whoever decides to do this with him, so for what 2 years of my life, my good friend Craig Rodsmith, all I did was video him, and it was just me and him in the shop. He wouldn't do anything with anybody else around. Some of the most hilarious, funniest moments I've ever had in my life are holding the camera, not trying to laugh, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
But
that's cool.
and the final product of that coming out, you look back now and go, wow, that was fucking kick ass. That was a lot of fun.
That's
But
awesome.
you can't do it on your own, like you said. Trying to be funny. I mean, comedy is an extremely hard thing to do, especially when you have no one to talk to. If you're just doing it
Yeah.
yourself, it's almost impossible.
I like watch some of these YouTubers that like that's their number one gig is like they just sit there and like it's a lot of those guys that are doing like tech reviews or they're doing you know the know-how of how to become a YouTuber or whatever. There's all those different kind of tutorials, but
Right.
those guys are so good at just they're just in a room by themselves talking to a camera. But the thing that they are doing very well is they're seeing that camera as an audience and as a person. And I'm just looking at it going, there's the camera. Like
Right.
how do you how do you get to that next level where you like envision the audience at that lens right there. You know,
Right. Have you ever
I'm
had?
working on it. I'm learning and growing.
How about this? Doing funny, like doing a video by yourself with a camera on you, and somebody else walks in the room is one of the most awkward. Like you're just checking to see if anybody's there. But it's just
Dude,
this human nature thing. It's
all
really
the
weird.
time. What's hilarious is like Rachel, like I can be my absolute most vulnerable self with her, right?
Right?
We are a unit, but I have the hardest time shooting videos when she's home because she's working from home too right now because of the
Right.
COVID stuff. So like I'm in here and all I can think about is can she hear me? Because her office is right above the garage. And I'm like, I bet she can hear me, and I sound so stupid right now. And it's like all I think about, and it's insane because this woman has seen me naked for the past 10 years, and that's not very impressive. And I'm worried about her laughing at me for making videos in the garage. You know,
Right.
it's funny.
That is super funny. All right, so what's next for you? So do you have any plans to you guys going to ride out to do anything motorcycle wise to see any shows, anything like that? Any big plans on the horizon?
Dude, currently no. Like it's hard to like make any real plans because you just never know. Like if like every time you think something's going to open up and everything's going to be okay, it seems like everything there's like two steps forward, one step back thing, you know?
Hmm.
And so it's hard to make any real plans. We found that with planning the second wedding date and it canceling. So we're really just floating as far as like making any plans to do anything other than being home. I mean, like I said, we're going to Minnesota for a week. But I mean, Rachel took on a new role at work this year and she's like flourishing and doing really killer at it and in love with her job. So like she's
All right, so big question. So doing all this, obviously it's yourself doing it, but and you said growing up without a father figure. So what, do you have a person in your life, in or out of the moto world or whatever, that's a big inspiration to you to keep hammering down on these things?
oh geez, man. That's a heavy one. Um I think it's more of a collective of maybe this is a cheesy way to get out of it, but a collective of all of my friends that are just, I see a lot of my friends that have um, taken the jump of working for themselves and, uh, you know, doing a job that they're proud of and they like, and that like that encouragement of being able to lift each other up in a community and support each other, no matter what each other's doing. Like my best buddy is a home inspector now. He like worked for the man and had a job and hated it and took took the leap to work for himself and now is very successful and friends following their passions or at least like taking a step of faith, and it just pushes me to do the same thing and to try something a
Right,
little outside of the norm.
right, right. So, a question I have because I'm kind of in the same boat here. We're both creating content to disperse to the community, and it's a lot of time and a lot of effort. So, are you taking on Patreon sponsorships, anything for your channel, and things like that?
I hate money. I don't want any money. I don't want
Me too.
anybody to support me. um Doing it all for free. Your
Good.
money's no good here, you know.
Right.
But
I
in
I
all
agree 100%.
actuality, I want all the money ever. PayPal, Patreon. I don't want people to think what I'm doing is like uh, uh, you know, like hold my hand out and I'm not doing anything. Give me your money.
Right.
But I'm hoping down the road that eventually people think my content's good enough that they'll want to support in some way, whether that be through Patreon or there being some sort of incentive program. And I print merch every once in a while just so people can uh, actually have a hard good of something.
Yeah.
But it usually has my face on it because I'm that self-involved and narcissistic.
Yeah, I want a shirt with your face on it and nothing else. I don't even want any advertisement for Party On Forever. I just want
Oh,
life
yeah,
is a
just my
mullet.
face. Yeah,
Just
life
yeah,
is a mullet.
and
And
just your face.
I have a mullet like graphic design put on my head.
I think it's great. I think that's good. I don't think people that are listening to this show and things. It's like I got started doing this just for fun, and I enjoy bringing content to people. But after a while, I mean, just doing like an hour-long podcast with setting everything up, with editing, with releasing it. There's probably 4 or 5 hours in each episode, so it kind of turns into a
Yeah.
job. And then we constantly want new equipment or to travel somewhere to get more content. So support from listeners, and it is a huge thing to make the show even better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the thing. Is like, you know, it all starts with you're just doing this thing that you want to do, and like it's like a, passion project or a side hustle or whatever the thing is, and it's fun and it's awesome, and I'm having the greatest time, um, being doing this stuff right now. But
Right.
like also as an adult, who has to pay bills and has all these obligations, you also have to make all the things that you do in your life. I'm not saying make them profitable, but they all have to make sense and align into your livelihood in the way that you're existing and paying all your bills and stuff. And so, if there's some way that this morphs into uh, a way to make a living or at least offset some of the costs of making the content, uh,
Sure.
that's the hope. I mean, right
Yeah.
now I'm shooting all these videos on an iPhone, right? Which an iPhone's a pretty incredible platform to be able to use as a communication device. And like, I don't think, you're a professional. So I'm not trying to say that like my video looks insane. You can watch it and say, oh yeah, that's probably on a phone. But the fact that I'm putting out some videos that people are like watching and subscribing and think and they're getting a kick out of it, and they're airplaying it up to their TV, and
Hmm.
that's insane that you can do that on a phone. But hopefully one day I can buy a camera and do it on a camera and make it even nicer. The
Right.
the amount of, it's like if people enjoy it enough to like kind of give towards it, then they're gonna get a better product before it's over with. You know what I mean? Same with
Amen.
your fucking podcast. If people are like donating, then you're gonna be able to like have better gear to do it with, more time, better guests, that kind of thing.
Right. Just gives you more, and it's kind of fun, but on the double-edged sword, it's something that comes from fun comes to an obligation then as well. So
Yeah, that's how the band thing was. All I wanted to do was play music, and then before it was over with, the music is how I paid my bills.
sure.
So like, there's that thing too where you're like, oh man, I need to sell X a number of albums and T-shirts and play this many shows this year to be able to afford living in an apartment or whatever. You know what I mean? But
Sure.
it's that whole thing about managing your expectation out of life, and I don't have to have all the newest, nicest things as long as I can survive and continue my 300-pound physique that I've worked really hard on.
Right.
Then, you know,
People don't understand too that at my heaviest, like at 300 pounds, it is not easy to maintain your weight at that. I mean, this is a lifetime commitment that
yeah, dude,
obviously
you got
takes
to
money and hard
shovel.
work.
You got to
Yeah.
shovel food in your mouth. When we get off this podcast, I'm going to make some BLTs for lunch, and I'm going to eat two of them at least. It's going to be great.
Right. Yeah, and most people could just have one, and it doesn't take that much time out of their day. So they don't understand this. The struggle is real. Life's a mullet, man. Life's a
Life's a
mullet.
mullet. You gotta work at keeping your physique during the day and party at night.
That's right. No one would recognize us if we were super skinny. So I'm glad you're keeping that up, Andy. So,
Thanks.
all right.
Thanks for your
Did,
support.
hey, no, I'm here for you, brother. I'm here for you. So, real quick, as we wrap up here, I want two things. Tell everybody how they can follow you on Instagram, first of all, because most of our listeners are on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram and Twitter is a plea for Andy. That comes from the band I used to be in, A Plea for Purging. But yeah, I'm on there.
Awesome.
And YouTube is Party On Forever. YouTube.com/Party On Forever.
Yeah, and I looked up, and I'm a subscriber now. Just so you know,
Cool.
under the DJ company, you'll see it on there because that's the first thing that popped up. But I can't believe you got Party On Forever first thing on YouTube. That seems like that would have been taken.
Dude, I know. I'm actually really stoked about it. Like when you first start on YouTube, there's all these rules, and like you can't even claim a URL until you have a certain amount of subscribers. So like I had to wait until I had a certain amount of subscribers before I could even get the URL. But I was super stoked that it wasn't taken. And trying to grow this YouTube thing is crazy. Like the Instagram stuff is just it's just came natural. Like a lot of the people that follow me on there came from my old life of being in a band. So there's not like I'm not putting some crazy amount of work into like having any followers on Instagram. And like I used to just put all my videos on there and you can get 2, 3, 4,000 views on Instagram because you got like a lot of followers. But I'm just like building this to get people to like make the transfer and go from one platform to the other. But the hope is
Right.
that it's the investment, that you know YouTube is like a pretty like solid foundation if you can build something up there that people actually watch it on their TVs as opposed to just like looking at a 3-minute video on your phone. It's kind of hard to keep somebody connected to their phone for 3 to 10 minutes or something. But if they're
Sure.
watching you on their television, they're there for a reason, like to actually view the content. So that was kind
Yeah.
of the move for YouTube. Hopefully, like to be more intentional about the things I'm posting and
Yeah.
lock some
No,
people in.
I amen to that, and that's where I watch all my YouTube. So everybody listening out, go give Andy a follow. Check him out. Check him out on Instagram, on Twitter. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube because we had a little chat off air, and I know he's got some great content coming your way. So catch up on all the other ones and make sure not to miss anything else coming out. But brother, I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me today, man.
Dude, absolutely. It's been a pleasure, man. Just the fact that like it always is humbling and just makes me feel insanely like cool and proud that just anybody would want to hear me talk. I'm just some fat 38-year-old dude that hangs out in my garage and tries to be funny. And the fact that anybody takes anything away from it or like wants to hear my opinions on anything is cool. But in the end, like if I had any like parting statements, is that like we all have to figure out how to be happier and more positive and inclusive as well. Like I think everybody just like the thing I like about this, me and you didn't know each other before this. Like never talked to each other. Like we just started talking to each other on Instagram a few days ago. Like the two strangers in two different states, like talking to each other and like being able to like have a real conversation about some stuff is very cool. And if two random people that don't know each other could just go out and have a cheeseburger together and like talk about life and passion and love and whatever makes you tick, like these kind of conversations need to happen between strangers more often. And so that's the whole point behind everything I'm trying to do is just to encourage everybody to like be inclusive and to be positive. So
Amen.
that's my preach.
Yeah, and you know what, brother? Now, at this time in the world, is probably the most important time to bring that forward.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I just there's too much hate and there's too much negativity, and I'm trying to fight it, dude, in myself and in others.
Right. Amen. Well, brother, that's a great closing to leave us on here. But it's been a pleasure. Once again, everybody go follow Andy. Make sure to check out a thing, and thank you for spreading positive messages, brother.
Cool. Peace. Thank you.
Peace, man. Take care.